And you will walk and talk to that second box. Stand by A. Roll A, dissolve up.
We are in the open. We are in the open. About 20 out.
21 seconds.
The weather was pretty horrific. It was just loud.
He's going to walk over and we'll lose Fallon.
Okay, just so he knows.
He does.
Great.
Hopefully.
My neighbor Shed wound up in my backyard.
I did.
Total mess. Yeah.
Stand by to roll B. Stand by to dissolve.
Scary too.
And roll B, dissolve. Mike.
Louisville Homes and
Stand by
Mason
to make your
Tornado
move. Stand by to roll X
last
on
night. The National
ME2A.
Weather Service says at least an EF1 tornado hit here in Fern Creek.
No injuries have been reported, but as you can see,
Start
lots
walking.
of damage was left
Walk over.
behind.
Roll
there.
X.
And it was a similar scene.
Stand by to
out in
reveal
Shelby
Grace.
County.
Stand by live
Families
view
woke up
2.
this morning to the trees
Tilt
being
up.
split, buildings were splintered. WDRB's
Reveal.
Grace Haba is there live now. She's
Stand by
been
to
with
take.
the National Weather Service crew
Can we live
all
tween?
day, and Grace
Stand by to
and
live
they've
tween.
been surveying the damage.
Live tween.
Viewer.
That's right.
Stand by
and guys, you just hit
ME2B,
on the
under.
Good piece of all of this, all of the madness
Under.
last night. Nobody was injured, and that is what the National Weather Service
And then
says
we'll use
that they
ME1B
are
to
very
toss to
happy
Stefan.
about this morning. Now we are here in the 3000
Reset
block
L1
of
and
Taylorsville
2.
Road. This is in
Please
Shelby
let Drew
County,
them
not
know
the
we
one
do
in
have a
Jefferson
side
County.
monitor
I wanna
coming
make
up.
that very clear because I'm here with meteorologist John Gordon from the National Weather Service. And John, we've been with you throughout the day. This is about our 10th stop. Reason why I wanted to make sure people knew we were in Shelby County is
And at
because
some
we
point
were
we'll
in
hot punch
Jefferson
B
County
in the big
earlier
box
today.
on ME2B.
Tell us what you saw first off this morning off Fairmont.
Stand by to roll A. Stand by to dissolve.
Straight line winds. Our office at the Weather Service had 72-mile-per-hour winds. And
Roll
then
A,
down in the
dissolve.
Fairmont and the Glenmary Reserves and Providence, we had an EF1 tornado of 97 miles an hour. And then that died in the eastern part of Glenmary. And then we found today, you and I, we found a bunch of straight line wind damage in Shelby County,
Stand by
including
to
this
dissolve.
barn right here. This
Dissolve
pole barn that
back.
was blown out last
Put
night
B
about 65-mile-per-hour
in the big
winds.
box.
And I wanted to ask you about the straight line wind damage. Like you said, that's what you're looking at right now behind us, guys. This was an old barn. When you come across a barn like this that was knocked over from straight line winds versus a tornado,
Are you
how
doing
do you
corner
gauge
3D
the
at all?
difference?
Great question. So look around here. There's no trees twisted or
Stand
turned.
by
We don't
to
need
roll
to
B.
return
Roll
any
B.
direction.
Dissolve.
So this is mainly going from the west to the east. And picked it up.
Stand by live view
and knocked
2
it straight
full.
down. If it was twisting like we saw earlier, we had cedar trees twisting, insulation going in 3 directions of a house, cars being picked up and twisted in different directions. This is pretty much a standard west to east thing.
And dissolve.
And looking right behind us, there's a barn,
right.
but about
Stand by
100 or so,
ME1B.
probably less than 100 or so yards away from us, guys. There's a house that looks like it was untouched. Looking at these two, is that pretty common to see in a storm like this?
Yes, there's been a few areas of real sporadic, strong, intense winds. We saw that on Beachdale Road where we had winds of 65 to 70. Literally dozens and dozens of pines and cedars and Bradford
I'm about
pears
to wrap
down.
her.
And then
That's
nothing
fine.
until you get to something like this.
And when you
She
look
will
at these
toss to
straight
Stefan.
line winds,
Live
you
view
said
5.
that the number one thing that people really need to be concerned about when it comes to strong winds like this is the flying debris. So whether we're talking straight line winds or a
Put A in the
tornado,
big
there's
box,
still a
stand by
lot to keep in
ME2B.
mind.
Absolutely, great point. And the Providence.
Roll A.
Oh gosh, there were
Dissolve.
flying missiles. Mark will tell you
We'll go
that.
full, then
Flying
ME1B.
missiles what kills people. Flying debris. Years ago, when I was young, they taught us to open the windows. Totally ridiculous. It is flying debris that
Toss
kills
to
people.
Stefan
Get
in
low,
concrete.
listen to the warnings, pay attention, and you and your
Stand
family
by.
will live another
Stand
day.
by.
Dissolve.
John,
Stand by
thank you. And as
ME1B.
John just
Clean.
mentioned, an area where we saw a lot of that debris was over in Fern
Take.
Creek. That's where we actually are going to turn
Stand by
things
live
now.
view
We find
5.
WDRB's Stefan Johnson,
With-
who is there on the ground.
He's gonna do a live
watching
interview as well.
Neighbors clean up. Stefan, what can you tell us about the cleanup efforts underway?
Take.
Do 'em.
Hey there, Grace.
All right,
You guys are
ME2A.
very
I need a
nice
step
job.
box.
John Gordon
Awesome
mentioned that
interview,
flying
Grace. Nice
debris. Take a look behind me. So this is one of the houses that was
Live view
here
5
on Bohannon
and
Station
1.
Road here in the Glenmary
ME2A's
neighborhood.
in the returns.
And
Camera
you
1,
mentioned that
Stefan
flying
will be
debris.
tossing
Take a
to
look
you.
at that. This is part of
Mark?
someone's
You can show me
Stefan,
Mark
Stefan,
and
Stefan,
monitor. Show me
Stefan,
Mark
Stefan,
and monitor,
For
please.
Jeff Gordon, as soon as we pulled up,
And he will
bent
do
down on
corner
the ground and
3D.
said there are nails everywhere, and neighbors
then
say
Scott
this
is at the
stuff was
side monitor
flying
after
through the air
3D.
last night, and then
Good
just
guy.
next door. What a mess. The top of the home is gone.
Let's go
These
under, since
folks
we'll-
were at
since
home
that's kind of
when the
sitting on
tornado hit. I'm told that the neighbors went downstairs to their basement, and the homeowner said there was water coming in, and they thought that the roof was gone. We'll show you where it is in just a moment, but right now you have a lot of insurance adjusters
Stefan's
here,
tossing to Mark.
A lot of debris everywhere, as you
Yep.
said.
I'll
And
remind
then
them.
just across the street, let's walk across the street. That roof that we just showed you that was missing, well, it's across the street in a neighbor's home.
Good.
All of this landed over here. Looks like the tornado was moving to the east of here. We're going to hear more about that in just a moment from Chief Meteorologist Mark Weinberg. But first, we're going to bring in Wes Beams with American Roofing. So Wes, you guys have been out here all day. You've been doing this for 30 plus years. How bad is this?
Give me his
The
name.
last time I've seen anything like this was in 1996 when a tornado hit Zalton and Mount Washington area. This is pretty bad.
You can go back to locator.
It's pretty bad.
And so this roof across the street, obviously that home is in bad shape, but the house behind us, that looks like there's some shingles missing on the top. Is that roof going to have to be replaced as
Page
well?
10 is dead.
That roof right there will have to
Page 10
be
is dead.
replaced. And
More to come.
from what I've seen here today, just about every roof back here is going to have to be replaced.
And one of the neighbors pointed you guys out and said you guys were just basically leaving your flyers and you weren't knocking on doors. You told me something interesting about, you said in the next couple of days there are going to be people coming from out of town to these neighborhoods. What advice would you give people if they have damage to their homes?
Well, what I think you should
Wrap
do is
after
I think you
this
should go to the
comes to Mark.
BBB.
They'll be rapping
You
after
should
this
Google the
question.
company
Mark is next.
That's actually coming and knocking on your door and checking them out to make sure they're not out of towners, because there will be a lot of out of town roofers coming in over the next 24 to 48 hours.
All right, I know you've had a
Stand
very
by
busy
Mark.
day, Wes. Thanks
Stand
so
by
much for
Emmy
talking to us.
2A.
We appreciate it again. We're still getting up-to-date information on what happened across the Kentuckiana area. Chief Meteorologist Mark Weinberg
Stand by 1,
has the
under.
latest on what the National Weather Service is saying about last night's tornado.
Go to his name.
You know, and
Oh, never
Stefan,
mind.
that
And
what we
take-
see that
thank you,
brings up a
thank
really
you,
good
thank you. That
point,
worked.
and that
Stand
is
by
if
weather
you live in the
graphics.
southern part of
Thank you so
Jefferson
much.
County and any area where I've got some
I
of
love
these
touching all the
red
pictures. You guys
lines.
did a
Dissolve.
You need
fantastic
to have
job.
your shingles inspected.
Camera
You
1,
saw
corner
that there was a
3D.
lot of
Scott
shingle
at the
damage
side
around
monitor.
the
Scott
area,
will go to the side
and
monitor.
It's just a wise thing
Keep
to
it up,
do.
guys.
So these are the areas that the National Weather Service is and will be surveying. You can see the southern Jefferson into Shelby. You can see the eastern Jefferson
Scott
into
has no
Shelby, and
IFB.
then Franklin.
Does
We
he
have the
need an
Grayson
engineer?
County area, and
Well,
then
there's
we have
two
that
right beside
Grayson
him.
County through southern Hardin into LaRue, and then part of Taylor County. This is a more than one day job. What we know thus far, and John Gordon mentioned this, and I'll tell you something, John Gordon
Scott
is a
will
really
have a
passionate
tag
guy
at the
about
side monitor.
weather.
So we go
got
side
to hear him
monitor,
a little bit
SOT,
earlier.
then side
He
monitor.
always is good to interview, and it's just kind of nice that he is so outspoken when it comes to weather and getting information out the way he does. And I will say, both of us, in terms of wanting to make sure people are safe, I think I speak for everybody in the weather enterprise when I say that is a huge, huge thing we take seriously. EF1 tornado, we know, hit the Glen Mary area with 97-mile-an-hour winds. Remember, the survey continues here. But this has brought up kind
Stand
of
by
that
1.
question. When we talk about
Dissolve.
tornadoes, you know, what specifically is
Stand by camera
an
3.
EF1 tornado? So I want to show you, an EF1 tornado traditionally is going to knock down trees. It'll break windows, roofs, as you saw, will be stripped. Now, if you're wondering where
let's
we would
clear
go from
out
here, if there was
ME2A.
something stronger, it would be EF2, and that damage is notably different. And that
Page 11 is dead now.
This is when you start to see cars lifted and thrown.
We're gonna do
and
another
walls
monitor
will be
white.
completely destroyed. And we haven't
be
seen that.
E3 to
This
A
one
now,
thus far
or
that we have
E4
the
to A.
rating on is EF1. Glad to say it's quiet outside right now. I'm going to talk about when rain
All right,
returns
stand by
and how it
3,
impacts
stand by.
weekend plans coming up.
Take. Stand by
Thanks so much,
X.
Mark.
Sound.
JCPS canceling
With.
school today after the storm knocked out power in spots and made it unsafe to get students to class.
Relax on take.
Because of the debris and the trees in
Stand
the
by
road,
3
there was
clean,
no
stand by
safe
3
way
clean.
and no logistic way that we could do
5,
transportation
stand by
for
Scott.
our students and be safe about it. So we made the decision to cancel
Stand by.
classes.
Take.
The plan
We'll have a
right now is for
DRB animation
JCPS
to camera
return
2,
class tomorrow.
DRB animation to camera
District leaders
2.
say about a dozen
Reset
schools lost
3D.
power. JCPS operated as a snow day today. There was no NTI. The district says that's because some students did not have power at their homes this morning. All
Stand by
JCPS
DRB animation.
extracurricular activities were canceled for tonight as
DRB.
well. And our coverage of severe
Stand
weather
by 2,
continues.
stand by 2
right
dissolve.
Now, online, we have slideshows of damage across the area, as well as the latest from the National Weather Service surveys. Stay up to date on WDRB.com.
And dissolve.
Some other
Stand by
news today,
A.
a teenager
VO.
was charged
Banner.
with a Louisville murder more than a year after the crime.
Roll A, take.
LMPD says
Stand
they
by
just
2 on
arrested
Fallon.
a 17-year-old for shooting and killing 29-year-old Roderick Ballard. It happened April 4th, 2021, near the intersection of Madison and Dr. W.J. Hodge
Camera
Streets.
2 is next.
The name of the
ME2A
teen
in
arrested
the
is not being
side
released
monitor.
because of his age. Police say he was
Stand by
arrested
2.
last night on unrelated charges.
Take. Stand by B.
Randomly
B.
firing
Sound.
a gun in
With.
Louisville was legal until recently.
by the regular tween.
WDRB's Travis Ragsdale tells us what's changing that will now make it a crime.
Tween. Roll B.
This ordinance was first
Stand
talked
by to
about and
lose
introduced
super.
here at City Hall back in January, but it's gone
Lose
through
super.
a lot of changes.
Tease
since
is
then.
next. Tease is next.
Step for us here to make our city even safer.
This was Thursday morning as Mayor Greg Fisher signed the so-called firearm discharge ordinance. Believe it or not, until this signing, shooting a gun randomly in Louisville was not against the law. Now it will be. Initially, council members plan to ban all celebratory
Scott's back at the
gunfire,
side
but
monitor.
backed off
Less
that
than a
plan
minute.
to
Less
say
than a
that
minute.
gun cannot be shot
We'll go from
within
the graphic
300
to
feet
video.
of a road
Can you let
or the
Scott know we'll go
direction of the
graphic to
building
video on the
within
side
300
monitor?
feet.
Does he
The
have
sponsors
ISB?
believe the rules need
All right, he
to
doesn't
account
have
for the
ISB, that's
difference
right.
between rural and urban areas
No,
of the
Stand
city.
by
And
super.
Police
Stand by
are
super.
thankful for the change.
No, I
Add
think
super.
It's a very
Side monitor
valuable
only
tool.
again.
I think anything
Lose
that
super.
draws attention to
30
the
seconds
fact
from the
that we are
tease. Sound on
seeing
X for the tease.
individuals, they're just being reckless. There's no thought with what they're doing.
If someone is arrested for firing randomly, they'll be charged
Stand
with
by
a misdemeanor.
super.
MetroSafe received 5,756 calls about shots fired in 2021. Since this is just
Add
a
super.
misdemeanor, it's punishable
Stand by
by a
two.
fine
Stand by
and up
Fallon.
to
Teases
a
next.
year in jail. In downtown Louisville, Travis Ragsdale, WDRB News.
Take. Stand by
It's anything
X.
but
Sound. Stand by to
par for
flash.
the
Clean.
course at Seneca.
Rolex on flash.
They're
Stand by
just
camera
running
3.
out of
Stand by to
a
flash.
Car and stacking
Stand by
them,
Fallon's
running
mic.
back to the car very quickly.
Mike Fallon. Stand by 3.
Thieves
Stand
are
by
stealing
Scott.
golfers' items
Stand by to flash.
right out of their cars.
Flash. Mike and Q.
Plus,
Stand by to bring
you,
in
our
A in the
viewers at
side
home,
monitor.
are giving us an even better view of just how widespread the damage is from last night's storm.
Roll
Take
eight
a
is
look at
off.
this video. It's from Haley Marie McCarville. This is from Brandenburg. As she captures what happened
Stand by to
out
fade to
there
black.
in that neighborhood. You see the big limbs are down. A lot of water too, but as Mark said, not enough damage to knock down
Pen
and
left,
decimate
just a hair.
entire dwellings
Hold.
and take the walls down. But a lot of cleanup going on today. You can send in your
Stand by to fade to
photos
black.
and your
Stand by
video,
your break.
too, to our WDRB social media pages.
Fade to black. Roll your break.
Oh my
Good job, everybody. Good job.